Hey gang, you just saw me wire brushing these blades. They come off 38-inch deck for the JD170. I've got a quick tip for you. Anytime that you're putting something in a grinder and either putting something in a vise and either filing or grinding it, if you put it way out here, I mean way out there, and you start filing on it, you're going to get flex and jump. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that whatever you're going to be cutting and filing on is as close to the jaws as it can be without it getting in your way. So I've got that to where I think I can get to everything. I'll pop the grinder out, and I just use a 4¼ inch snag grinder with a grinding wheel on it to sharpen my blades. And another really important thing that you need to do afterwards is make sure you balance your blades. If you don't have this type of balancer, look on YouTube. There are some great videos on how to use a nail on a wall to properly balance your blade. So, and the reason you need to balance your blades, well, you don't want it heavier on one side than it is on the other when it's spinning, or it'll cause a lateral motion and cause your bearings to prematurely fail. Stay tuned, I'm going to sharpen this guy. I tell you, I talk about pawn shops a lot and flea markets and stuff like that. This right here is a DeWalt paddle grinder, 4½ inch, and I got that sucker for $5 about 8 years ago. So how did I get fortunate enough to get this for $5? Well, it was on the "it doesn't work" table. All it was the paddle switch. It was a $4 part. So I have $9 in this thing, and I've used it for years and years and years and years. Hang on, we're going to grind it. When you're sharpening any kind of a blade, mower deck blade, it's important not to overheat it. You'll know you're overheating it when you have temper colors showing on the edge as you're grinding. So frequently swap your blade around, or go to the other blade if there's 2 blades or multiple blades, and keep chipping away at them. You want to chip away at them until you get a good sharp edge. Then you want to go back through, use your balancing tool, and see that you have good balance left to right, and that it's not going to cause any premature bearing damage. So let's grind. You guys are going to notice I use a real steady movement. If you're not real steady, something that you can do is take and mount your grinder in your vise and then pull your blade through it. Just another way to get your blade sharpened. I usually go at a pretty steep angle. These particular blades are off the John Deere and they show a 40-degree angle, so I'm going to try to keep that angle. Now, I'm nowhere near close enough to having this thing sharp yet, but I'm going to go ahead and flip it because, again, I don't want to overheat, and I'm showing you guys here that we don't have any temper color showing through. This dark down at the lower edge is just where the bitter edge is going to be for the cutting. So I'm going to flip it around, and we'll grind a little bit on the other side. As I get to the outside edge, I lessen the pressure that I have on there. You'll notice blades that have been sharpened a lot, they're rounded down here. There's more material taken off here than here. That's not always due to mowing. A lot of times that's also due to sharpening the blade. So you want to keep as much even pressure as you can until you get to just the bitter end, and then just ease up a little bit, because you want to keep that clean and nice and straight so you have more life out of the blade before the blade's dead. So I'm going to finish sharpening this one up, show you what a sharpened one looks like, then we'll go to the balancing and what you do to balance. Okay gang, I got them sharp. Now I need to balance them. You can see this end is down further than that end. You center the blade over the cone, it's got different size ridges. Anyway, because this side is lower, that means this side is heavier. Not by much, because it's not sitting completely down. So I'll take a little bit more off of this side. The way that I usually do that, so that I'm not interrupting my edge so much, is I will take that weight out of here. Take it just right out of there, because I've already got my edge. Don't want to disrupt my edge. Just take it out of there little by little until I've got a balanced blade. That's the way I do it. I'm kind of picky and meticulous, but this is all about the JD170 and getting it in good shape for Ralph's daughter. So, and I just discovered I have to replace a fuel line. Overnight, the John Deere left a puddle. So, and it's not a short fuel line either. It goes, let me zoom back out. It goes from here all the way back to the gas tank underneath the seat. So if I don't have enough, I'm going to have to run to the hardware, pick me up some 1/4-inch fuel line. But we'll eventually get this thing done if little things don't keep popping up on it like it does. I still have to pull the blower housing off, make sure all that's clean and clear underneath there, and tackle the bendix, that's the solenoid that's not kicking into the flywheel. So probably just needs a little bit of lubrication. It's what happens when things sit for a long time. But hopefully his daughter's going to be pleased with the outcome, and he's going to be pleased with the outcome, and she'll be able to get a few more years out of this old Deere. And like I say, I know I knock on them, but for a riding lawnmower, it's the bomb. They're comfortable. It's even got a fuel gauge on it, and this is going back in the 80s, 1989. It's got a fuel gauge, lets you know when the fuel's low. So, but anyway, I'm gonna keep plugging away at the deck. I had to do a couple things to the deck. Fortunately, this one does have grease zerks, and the bearings are good, so I don't need to worry about the bearings. But picked up a bunch of hay bale string. The gentleman that owns this has a farm. And then I've got a bunch of fishing line, and yes, he's also a fisherman. Got a bunch of fishing line wrapped around this one, so I'll have to dig in there and get all that out. That may be giving me a false confidence on the bearings being good. So anyway, that's where we're sitting. You can tell it's been sitting a long time from all the pitted rust that's under here. But a couple good mowings, all that stuff will break loose and go away. And he obviously has gotten into a little bit of mud too. But we'll get her. This is Zippo. There's your little blade sharpening tidbit for the day. I wanted to give you another quick little tip. You don't have to stop your grinder before setting it down. They're all designed with a flat spot on the back, so you can turn them over and let them stop that way. Just make sure they're pointed in a safe direction. Furthermore, with your vise, after you get your vise closed so that it's as much out of the way as it can be, don't leave it tight like that. Bring it back to the next spot. That way if you bump into it, it's going to swing instead of you knocking something kind of precious to yourself on a tightened down handle. That just flat out sucks. So there you have it. And if you have a swinging base like this one is, this is the machinist vise. If you have a swinging base like this and you want, you can just loosen it, swing that vise out of the way, and get it over here where it's completely out of your way. So there you go. There's a couple more little tip twits for you. Now I got to set this back on the balancer because I believe it's this side I need to take a little bit out of, but I want to be sure. And that one's already balanced and sharp. I guess real quick, again, we'll go ahead and do this. How do I get my edge without making it look like there's a whole bunch of bevels on there? Well, imagine this camera is my angle grinder. What I do, and it's pretty simple, is I get my angle set and I put the grinder against my belly and I position it there like it's a part of me, and then I move my body back and forth. By moving my body back and forth, I am keeping my angle exactly right, and it allows me to get a good bevel. So you see me moving back and forth like that, I've got the camera positioned against my belly so that it stays in the same exact position, and then I just sway back and forth. And I only sharpen, I start here and I move out. I never go back and forth. Start here, move out. Start here, move out. It's kind of like sharpening a chainsaw blade. You only sharpen on the push, not the pull. Chainsaw chain. So I guess a few tips in this. There you go. Get this sucker finished up, see if I can replace the fuel line and still get this thing over to Ralph today. If not today, then I'll get it over to him tomorrow. But we're supposed to get some rain tomorrow. Anyway, this is Zippo. I'll y'all later out. And we are officially at the end of the John Deere 170 saga. Deck is mounted, blades are sharp, running like a top. Adjusters have been there's eccentrics on the fronts of each of these adjuster bars, so you center the deck. Those have been adjusted. Like I say, the blades are sharp. New belts. The pivot that was stuck on the deck, pulled it completely off, cleaned all that up, got it to where it was working the way it was supposed to work. The starter still just a little bit finicky, but it's getting better, so I think just with some use it'll straighten itself out. The solenoid's not wanting to pull the Bendix into the pinion, pull the pinion gear via the solenoid into the flywheel. Just a little finicky. Priced them out quite a bit for, of course, you're paying for green stuff. So I'll leave that up to Ralph if he wants to replace that. But overall, she's done. Back in one piece. I'm too tired to take it out to Ralph today, but I'll certainly get a hold of him, let him know it's ready, and load her up and get it out to him tomorrow if he's not too busy. So that's it. That's the end of the John Deere story. But there will always be others in here. They're always breaking down. Not to say that these don't break down too, but you're looking at 52 years old versus 30 what? No, 20 some years old. So anyway, what you say, 26, 25, 27 years old. But anyway, that's another story. When they run good, especially when they're being chased by something like that. Ha ha. Sorry, Bruce. I know you got yours for free. So anyway, and you've got a Simplicity Alice yourself. So anyway, got her done. Let's see if this thing will do what it does with the starter. It probably won't. Yeah, see that? You just kick it a couple times and then it fires over. So anyway, that's it. I'll slap all these little bits and pieces together and call this a wrap. It's Zippo later, you know the rest.